Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are here with the season finale of Dota Dragon's Blood. It's been an interesting season so far. I'll give my thoughts on my overall view of the entire season at the very end of this video. What on the last episode we got a bit of a backstory on Invoker to see what is driving him presently, which is not so much vengeance on Selemene, but in him wanting to set things right. We saw his daughter fell gravely ill. He went back to her to try to help his daughter, but she refused. Unless he agreed to worship her and say she devote himself to her. Which is pretty terrible. I mean, she looked at her daughter not so much as a child, but as someone who could worship her, and that was more important to her than her daughter's life. So that does explain why he just doesn't, what his interaction with her, I think 2 episodes ago, he is pretty much lost his I think he spoke about being somehow, he seems to be devoid of emotion or love or anything of that kind now. But I mean, I don't think he wants to take Selemene down. Because if that was really his agenda, he clearly had other means to do it. He in my mind appears to be very powerful, and he could actually aid the others in doing that. But he said he's been in that tower for, I think, 100 years, if not more. And he's seen the things that she's been doing and things have been done, but he's chosen to stay locked away in the tower and do nothing. So I'm not sure what he's hoping to accomplish. We saw where he had this other dragon imprisoned, the mother of oceans or whatever she said. So I don't think Selemene is good. I'm just not sure he's completely on our side. But I'm definitely interested to find out. So our heroes are traveling together now, heading back to return the lotuses to Selemene. I'm still not quite clear on what the purpose of the lotuses are, because he did say that with the lotuses gone, she has lost her power. But that doesn't appear to have been the case. She seems to be very powerful even without the lotuses. So I'm not sure what the lotuses are, but Femin tried to steal them. She did return them, and I think her friend, she's building a friendship with the other members of the group, with Davian more so than Miranda and the others, of course, for obvious reasons, because there seems to be a rift. There's some history between the elves and the humans, but that history hasn't really been revealed to us or explained to us in much detail, so that I can understand what's driving her so much. Because Davian is a human. She has no issue, with him in particular, but just those humans who worship Selemene, I guess. But can't really tell that immediately. So how does she know that Davian isn't, a devout worship of Selemene as well? So there are still a few things that I would hope I would want them to convey a bit better in the series, but we'll touch on all of that towards the very end of the discussion. I'm very excited to get into the final episode, so let's check it out. Ah, Caden. He's not dead.
Davion was here. We hunt north.
Oh, he brought company this time. Oh, that's Davion's companion. They seem close, so I hope he's not here to harm him.
I don't see any markings.
Coriel Tuvi placed those stones there. They don't need markings.
I don't think she cares.
You only need to swallow. I can accommodate the rest.
Any one of your soldiers could bring me food. Yet every day, every single day, I see you. You need me in here to justify you out there. But you've got it all wrong. You're my prisoner too.
Maybe so, but my cell has a view.
What? How would you want him to see that?
They did this.
Another message, I'm guessing?
We cut them down. We bury them.
Mayne is light.
Where are you gonna blame now, Miranda? There are no sides at this point. At least none that's justified.
Princess, if I may, it's good to see you again.
And you. It's good to see every one of you.
What's your name again? Oh, the one who killed your pod.
No one will harm me, or any of you.
Not easily.
Yeah, I'm not very confident in that.
Lotuses, the unfettered power of our goddess, contained in that little box. No lid.
Yeah.
Open unless we agree to his terms. Terms? Whose terms? The Invoker.
Believe that's a story, but she believes there's a goddess.
Be wasted on a joke. The terms are simple. The Lotuses in exchange for our full withdrawal from the Enclaves. You're soft. A pampered princess who thinks a gift of flowers will make everything right again. The world doesn't work that way. You can go. You're a monster. You hesitated for a heartbeat to kill a thief. That heartbeat has killed so many more. This horror belongs to you.
I'm pretty sure you were the one swinging your blade.
We're not guests, we're prisoners.
Yep,
This was a mistake.
maybe.
Yeah,
We could
it
run.
was.
Never. I'm just talking about me. If you want to run, I won't stop.
Goddess, no. Tomorrow night, when the moon is highest in the sky, I will take the Lotuses to the shrine. Our goddess accepts your offer.
Somehow I don't think that's gonna be happening.
Fuck.
Just speak normally. Aw.
I'm gonna miss you too.
Frankly, I'd prefer to follow Marcy.
You're sure this is what you want? Going back?
My goddess needs me.
Your
Salamene took
goddess.
me in, protected me.
Isn't she?
Listen, Mirana,
You came to tell me you're leaving.
it's not like I can stay.
You could, if you wanted.
In the middle of all this?
The goddess, she could help you.
Because I'm broken?
That's not how I meant it.
We've both seen this place. A lot of broken things will need fixing before she ever gets to me.
Oh, children are brainwashed.
And who let you in?
I have a knack for getting into places I'm not supposed to be. I can get you out if we're quick.
You want to help me because...
Because I helped put you here.
Same thing.
For 1,000 years, we've hid all around the world. Humans leave us to our space because we taught them to fear us. But it seems to me they're the ones running free while we wither and die. No.
I'm with her.
That isn't who we are.
It is now.
You have no idea who we are.
We heard voices.
Have a seat, we're just chatting.
Oh, they're chanting Many, not Salamini. I thought they were converted.
His name. I accept your offering.
Here it
Grant
comes,
you
because she's
peace.
not agreeing to that. She will not withdraw. Oh, so she's accepting on her. I didn't think that would work unless the goddess accepted. Hey, what's happening?
It's worse than that. They know.
Yeah, what is happening? What is happening?
Everyone, the Dark Moon Order will leave here in peace, as we agreed. Lay down your arms. We are done with death, and death with us.
If they already had these numbers to resist them, why is it only happening now? I am confused. Generally confused about what's happening. What did the lotuses do exactly?
Our Lady, she is...
Okay, I am lost.
Eating. I will enjoy it.
Is this supposed to be Terrorblade?
I treat you with a gift. The eternal freedom of oblivion!
This armor. Well, she gets to have revenge for her pod. My only question is, why couldn't she do this before? I feel like I'm missing something. Did they all lose whatever power Salamini was providing them with before? Oh, okay. What happened to not killing people?
Your violence is like kindness in the shadow of my reign.
Yeah, swings this time.
Abandon you as your primary abandoned you. Your child, Philomene.
Does she have a heart?
He sent you. He sent you to torment me.
I struck a bargain.
So he made a deal with. I'm guessing this is Terrorblade. I have no idea. He hasn't said his name. I'm only assuming. Damn.
Know what a demon calls a god who does not know worship. A god who does not know love.
She's done.
Food.
That's a brilliant line. I guess at the very least, Davion has control, or it appears as though he has control. He's not just berserking like he was last time. Ah, the Dragon Knights. Not good. Not good. Bad timing, Caden.
Done fighting you. I'm here for the boy.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Turn of events. You're actually here to save him. No longer believes many.
Not even the priests can fill Salamene. There may be help. There may not be. We have to assume there is none.
Rana, they need you to get them home. They need their princess.
Salamene is defeated. Invoker got his revenge.
Do you love me?
Alright, the season finale of Dota Dragon's Blood. Yeah, I mean, I have some mixed feelings about the season overall. The first off, I will say the animation for the entire season has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there are elements where the CG kind of takes me out of things. I think the first 3 episodes were the best animated. For some reason, after episode 3, we were seeing more CG animation, which is usually the opposite. At least as far as what Netflix has been doing. Normally, what happens is the animation is bad for the first half, and then the latter half with the big finale and the last standoff with the villain usually has the animation stepped up. But this was the reverse. The animation in the first 3 episodes were fantastic, but the more we got towards the finale, even Terrorblade here was also a CG. So I'm a bit disappointed in that, or a bit underwhelmed, not to say disappointed. But you know, I wish the animation was more consistent, but where it shines, it does extremely well. Studio Mir did a great job. As I've said at the very beginning of this reaction, is that you know, I love what they did with Legend of Korra, and I saw the similarities here. I just wish it was more consistent from beginning to end. And ironically, it's plagued by the same issue that plagued Korra at the very end in book 4, which was the CG mechs and all that stuff. And the same thing happened here. The characters were great. The characters were definitely the standout for this series. I love Davion. Marcy is my favorite character, and she says absolutely nothing. But I mean, Miranda, I like her quite a bit as well. I didn't completely buy into their relationship she had with Davion. It just seemed to happen a bit too quickly, and that will bring me to my main gripe with this series, which is just the pacing issues. I think this series could have benefited. It had so much potential. It has everything that I could ever want: dragons, knights, magic. It had so much potential, but the pacing was a bit all over the place. I said it a few episodes back that I think this series could have benefited from having longer episodes, because the lore is very deep and very heavy, and we didn't get all. I didn't understand a lot of what was happening, a lot of the history behind the conflicts that were going on. That could have easily been solved. And again, I use Castlevania, and I know I use it as a comparison, but a lot of that could have been explained by just having short flashbacks or just character moments. You could easily accomplish that by one of the things that they did in Castlevania was just a scene, not a throwaway scene, but it wasn't pivotal to the story, but it was just or protagonist just sitting in a bar, and he overhears some characters talking about the events that happened in Wallachia, and why they hate the Belmonts and all of that. And it was just something so simple, but it got the point across that you were learning from these just random characters. You're learning the history of the land, and it feels more lived in than it does here, because we were thrown into the middle of a war, but at no point did I feel as though I understood what anyone was actually fighting for. Initially, we only saw the Nightwood, wherever it is that they were, where the lotuses were stolen from, and we just saw a military front there. That's it. There were no surrounding villages. We didn't see anyone. All we knew was that the lotuses were stolen somehow, because if there didn't appear to have been any security there, so I'm not sure how that happened, but lotuses were stolen and taken, and I just didn't feel as though I understood what it is the other worshippers of Salamini were actually defending. There were bits in there where they hinted at, okay, these persons are traitors because they decided to worship Salamini versus Mini, but it wasn't quite clear, right? And clearly all these characters are being manipulated by the goddess. So it would have been good for them to use the first half of the season, or at least make the episodes an hour longer, so that they could lay the foundation for what is driving these characters, and that would make them so much more relatable. The Davian bit of the story, of course, completely unresolved, but that makes sense. I thought the goddess storyline would have been what was carried over into season 2, but Davian was rescued here by Caden. Decided not to kill him, but I suspect I don't know what they're going to do with him. I suspect they're going to take him back to Dragonhold and maybe try to figure out some way to separate Slarak from him. The last battle here was, it kind of threw me for a bit, because I wasn't quite sure what happened. The deal with Invoker was, okay, you take the lotuses back, and they will be returned to Salamina if she agrees to leave. Salamina was not the one who agreed to do anything. It was just her emissary that said, okay, I agree to do this. And then the box opened, and I suppose what happened is that acted as an agreement, and he, it was a trap set by Invoker that if she agreed, she would be robbed of her powers. But it wasn't Salamina who agreed to any of that. It was just her emissary. So it just confused me for a moment as to why that was happening, when Salamina didn't play any part in that conversation, right? So I'm left to assume that what actually happened is that what Invoker did was to rob all her worshippers of whatever powers she was imbuing them with. Miranda made a comment there at the end that, okay, even the priest can't feel her. So without her worshippers, I guess she was weakened, and Terrorblade was able to, obtain his victory. Things just were a bit jarring, and it would have made so much more sense if some of those layers were built up throughout the season, and I think that could have been done so much more better. But I mean, I like the overarching theme with the goddess and Invoker especially. I like Invoker's story where she abandoned his daughter and he made a deal with the devil. He made a deal with Terrorblade, 7 souls for one, to get his vengeance. And his line there at the end, "Do you love me?" was just perfect. It was just fitting. So yeah, I mean, she got what was coming to her. Not sure what that means. Terrorblade is now here, but I don't know how that ties into what Terrorblade was attempting to accomplish in the first few episodes, where he was killing and possessing dragons, and that was the entire reason why Slarat decided to bind himself to Davion, because he didn't want his body to be possessed, or so the other dragons in the realm said. But Terrorblade is here now physically because of what happened with Selemene. How is it that he's now able to cross over? There are just so many things that that could have been explained a lot more clearly. And if you are not familiar with the lore of Dota, you will just be a bit confused. And I think the series could have benefited from just doing that setup, doing the work. I know it may have, pacing wise, it may have been a bit slow to do that. But the payoff would have been so much more worth it if you had set that up within the first few episodes, and even made the episodes a bit longer. You could have benefited from having those episodes an hour long. I mean, I enjoyed the story, enjoyed the lore. I may now go and seek out information pertaining to this. I didn't do that before because I didn't want to spoil myself, but the stories are definitely interesting. I've not played any of the games. I'm not sure what platform they are, whether it's RPG, top down, tabletop, or whatever the case might be. I don't know anything about the games really, but the lore is definitely intriguing. I just think that this could have been handled so much better. It's definitely, I mentioned at the very beginning of this series reaction that I hope it didn't repeat the same mistakes that Dragon's Dogma did. And this is definitely a step up from Dragon's Dogma, but still not where I think they could have taken this series. It's still, I think it falls somewhere in the vein of Blood of Zeus, it's good, had potential, but in the end, somewhat underwhelming because of the pacing and structure that they chose to go with. Those are my thoughts on the series, guys. So be sure to post down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode and Dota as a whole. Those of you who are fans of the game, who are knowledgeable about the lore, maybe you can fill in some of the gaps that I maybe missed throughout this season and this episode in particular. I would really appreciate that. So be sure to post down below. Let me know what your comments are. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.